This special report from Steve Kinane on the debate over chiropractic therapy in Australia.
Okay, so if you would just take a seat up here, facing that way.
Georgie is one of over 400,000 Australians who visit a chiropractor each year.
I find going to a chiropractor for me is just like maintenance, making sure everything's working properly, making sure that I'm working at my best.
Gentle stretch, great. And that way, how's that going for you?
Yeah, good.
Georgie gets her back cracked every 4 to 6 weeks. But this kind of procedure is relatively new. The founder of chiropractic treatment, Daniel David Palmer, set up his first school in 1897. He believed that 95% of all diseases were caused by displaced vertebrae. And the idea that the spine is the key to your health still holds currency with some modern-day chiropractors, such as Jim Skivalidis, who appears here on YouTube but didn't take up Lateline's offer of an interview.
Our chiropractic research suggests, and our clinical experience, that we may be able to help your child to breathe easier with their asthma, or improve their posture and feet alignment, to help them to build stronger immune systems against colds and ear infections, and to help manage any other childhood ailments including colic, ADHD, bedwetting, birth trauma and sporting injuries.
Bruce Walker, a chiropractor with over 30 years' experience, says claims such as those made by Jim Skivalidis need very close scrutiny.
Well, I think that that's the sort of claim that any chiropractors registration board in this country would take issue with, and I think they'd hold an inquiry into the conduct of that practitioner.
Bruce Walker thinks his colleagues should stick to working on musculoskeletal disorders and avoid treating conditions like colic.
There's been 2 randomised controlled trials into whether chiropractic treatment is useful for that. The first trial showed that there was a good effect by chiropractic treatment. The second randomised controlled trial, however, showed there was no effect. And the difference between the 2 trials was that the second randomised controlled trial had blinding of the parents. The parents did not know what sort of treatment that the baby was going to get. They were handed to a nurse who took the baby away. They either got chiropractic treatment or they got a placebo, which was just holding the baby. And in that trial, there was no effect.
But the Chiropractors Association of Australia still claims chiropractors can effectively treat colic.
There is a significant number of reported studies, Australia and worldwide, to indicate that the irritable baby syndrome, or colic, as it's commonly named, has been successfully treated by chiropractors.
And is that evidence from randomised controlled trials?
There is a significant building of data around that. I'm not aware of a randomised controlled trial.
Chiropractors treat a range of things beyond the musculoskeletal system. So some of them treat things such as bedwetting, asthma, dysmenorrhea, migraines, diabetes. And the evidence seems to be that there really isn't much to suggest that chiropractic care is useful for those health problems. But that's different from musculoskeletal problems. Chiropractic care can be quite useful for musculoskeletal problems.
Yet Australian chiropractors continue to advertise that they can help deal with ADHD, asthma and bedwetting. The exact extent of the manipulation of children's and babies' necks in Australia is unknown. However, in the United States, the birthplace of chiropractic treatment, the practice is widely promoted on YouTube.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eccles, and this is my friend Rayleigh, and today we're going to talk a little bit about kids in chiropractic care.
Okay, so let's check that neck. I'm going to try and watch Mama. There you go, well done.
You can still actually adjust the bones in his nose?
The bone right at the top here, you can get a grasp on kind of it's the bottom part of the bone, but it's actually a bone that goes back into the skull. It makes up the floor of the skull.
And adjustments on children are very, very safe because they're very, very gentle.
In Australia, there are even questions about how effective manipulation is for back pain in adults.
What we found in that Lancet trial was when people were given spinal manipulation or placebo, the rate of recovery from back pain was exactly the same. As you can see here, the recovery curves are almost exactly the same. lying exactly on top of each other. So adding spinal manipulation to basic care didn't seem to improve recovery rates at all.
And the people who were doing that research, were they surprised about that?
They were indeed. I mean, some of the people were practitioners of manipulation, so this has changed the way that they practice.
In Chris Maher's trial, the spinal manipulation was conducted by physiotherapists. The idea that anyone is getting their necks manipulated horrifies Professor Roy Berrin.
I think everybody should keep their hands off the neck personally.
Roy Berrin is a neurologist. He published a paper in the Medical Journal of Australia in 2000 highlighting the dangers of neck manipulation.
I have been involved in everything from death upwards. I've been involved in a medico-legal matter where a lawyer had his neck manipulated, had his stroke and died on the same day. Very tragic case. The cases we wrote up in the journal, one was a very high-flying real estate agent, very productive, who will never work another day in his life following his stroke.
You know, we're very proud of our safety history and very proud of our level of qualification and certification. There is possibly only 1 in 5.85 million chance of you suffering that type of accident or incident from a chiropractor.
I think this is a totally inaccurate figure. Let me put it this way. When we published our paper on this some years ago, it was initially knocked back because it was so common knowledge and so frequent that the journal didn't want to publish it.
Bruce Walker wants more research into this area. He's helped design an Australian study and is awaiting funding. And he's optimistic that his profession is moving into a more evidence-based phase.
We need to be very cautious about the claims that we make and make sure that they're not misleading and deceptive. At the 3 university courses at Murdoch University here in Perth, RMIT in Melbourne and Macquarie University in Sydney, evidence-based practice is taught in those 3 institutions. So all of the cohorts that are graduating now and have done in the last 5 years are definitely up with evidence-based practice.
But it might take a little while longer before chiropractic's 2 schools of thought move into alignment. Steve Kinane, Lateline.